Welcome to Mars, Marine. I'm gonna need you to step on one of those red squares on the floor for a bioscan. This'll only take a second. Okay, let me get this started. You're gonna need to hold still. Moving around only makes the test take longer. Alright, bioscan looks good. You're cleared for entry.
2004 was a banner year for the FPS genre. Half-Life 2 brought enhanced physics to the genre. Halo 2 was an enormous leap forward for console multiplayer. The Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay was the rare licensed game that was actually good. But by far, one of the most important and controversial FPS games that year also happened to be the resurrection of the most important series in the genre, Doom 3. Doom 3 is a weird game. Doom and Doom 2 were unapologetically action games. They had horror elements, yes, but that wasn't the point. The original games were fast-paced affairs where the point was to kill lots of demons in well-constructed environments designed to encourage exploration. Story and believability were not the point. You didn't even have to reload your guns. Doom 3 changed all of that. The sprawling levels of the original games were replaced by narrow corridors you could barely see. Audio logs and cutscenes were frequent. You even had to reload your guns. By far, Doom 3's biggest sin in the eyes of many was that you couldn't use the flashlight that was needed to see demons and your guns at the same time. A lot of jokes were made about how there wasn't any duct tape on Mars, and several people wrote the game off, even after mods were made to address the shortcomings, at least on PC. It was too different from what the series had been, so it wasn't a true Doom game. Thing is, that thinking is wrong. Doom 3 is weird, sure, but it's also a hell of a game, and you can still feel its influence on the series today. To understand why, we must talk about what Doom 3 is and what it isn't. It's unapologetically a horror game. A horror game where you're a walking arsenal, sure, but still a horror game, and every design decision makes sense when viewed through that lens. Doom 3 is legitimately scary. Demons spawn behind you, horrifying whispers echo from around corners, the lights go out at the worst possible times, ammo can be scarce, and there's some really terrifying demonic imagery, some of which takes over your screen. All of this is exacerbated by the fact that you often can't see anything without your flashlight, which means you may have to choose between seeing your enemies and fighting them. Ammo can be scarce, which adds tension to already cramped encounters. It's easy to take damage in Doom 3, so you're always on edge, and the bigger demons like Hell Knights, Cacodemons, and Archviles can do a lot of damage very quickly. The fact that you have to reload and that you can't cancel the animations by switching guns means you've got to pick the right weapon for the job and mind your ammo. Reloading is only part of the game's focus on realism. In addition to being a horror game, Doom 3 is id trying to imagine what Doom might be if it were real. You're not the Doomslayer here, you're just an average Marine who happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. You have orders from superior officers to follow, and your access to the UAC base is limited. You will have to explore to survive, which in this case means finding discarded PDAs to gain access to areas and open lockers that contain ammo, armor, health, and weapons. It also allowed id to try their hand at environmental storytelling, reducing the need for cutscenes while filling in a substantial amount of backstory and lore if players want it. For all these differences though, Doom 3 still feels like Doom. You dodge projectiles, strafe, and kill lots of demons. The game may be slowed down, but you're still faster than the protagonists of most FPS games. You're engaging fewer monsters, but each one is a threat, and there are still several bosses to fight. Environments are smaller, but there's still a lot to explore and secrets to find, and you're still capable of carrying a ludicrous number of guns and a lot of ammo, plus a demonic artifact that you can charge and use to murder demons in new and exciting ways. There's just an increased focus on horror and plot, and that isn't a bad thing. Whether you're dodging an imp's fireballs, sidestepping an archvile, or running from a Hell Knight, Doom 3 nails the balance between making you feel like you're incredibly vulnerable and the ultimate badass. Every encounter is legitimately dangerous, but they're a nice change of pace from the game's more haunting moments. Weirdly enough, killing demons is one of the least stressful parts of the game. The worst part is the fear of what's around the next corner, and if you're capable of dealing with it. It's a fine line to walk, and it's a testament to the development team that Doom 3 still nails that balance years later. id wasn't content to rest on their laurels though. Doom 3 was also the first game in the series to get a standalone expansion in Resurrection of Evil, which added the super shotgun, new monsters, and the ability to carry more ammo. It also featured bigger levels and more monsters to fight, addressing many of the complaints about Doom 3. The BFG edition, which upgraded the graphics and audio, also added an armor-mounted flashlight and previously unreleased levels known as the Lost Mission, which had a greater focus on combat. Doom 3's engine was impressive too, with strong mod support and incredible lighting effects that still hold up today, particularly if you spruce it up with something like SickMod. The engine was also used to develop several other well-regarded FPS titles, most notably Quake 4, Raven Software's Wolfenstein, and the original Prey. More importantly, Doom 3 had a major impact on the series. Doom 2016 also used its collectibles to tell a story, and its more realistic tone was noticeably more reserved than the original games, something director Hugo Martin had directly attributed to Doom 3. Doom Eternal discarded the realism, but the game's cutscenes and collectible-focused storytelling remain. Both Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal are a return to a more classic brand of Doom, but they didn't forget Doom 3's lessons. The Doom series has changed a lot in the last few years, and every game has its own identity. It's natural that series fans will have a preference, even between games that seem similar on the surface, like Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. But Doom 3 remains the only game in the series that's truly a horror game. The release of the BFG edition means that there's now a Doom 3 for everyone, whatever your flashlight preference. Doom 3 may always be the black sheep of the series, but it was an incredibly brave move on id's part. It was the first Doom game for an entire generation, and we're still feeling its effects today. If you can go into it with an open mind, you'll find a unique, enjoyable, and suspenseful game. So whether it's your first time on Mars, you're putting down a resurrected evil, or embarking on a lost mission, Doom 3's still a hell of a game. The only real choice to make is what kind of flashlight you want. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.